1. I want you to imagine this. It's a regular morning. You wake up, open the fridge, and reach for a cold can with the word energy printed boldly across the label. You think, I just need a little boost to get going. It's fine. Young people drink this stuff all the time. So, you crack it open, take a long sip. It's cold, it's sweet, a little bitter on the tongue. You feel sharper, more awake. It works, right? But what you don't feel right away is that your heart is beating faster, your blood vessels are tightening, and your brain, the control center of your entire body, is slowly getting less and less oxygen. Have you ever done that? Drank an energy drink? Or one of those sports drinks that seems harmless because it says electrolytes on the label? If you have, you're not alone. I've seen at least 40 older patients who thought the same thing. I remember one man in particular. His name was Michael. He was 66, still in good shape, looked strong. He didn't come to me because he was sick. He came because of a feeling. He said, "Doc, my heart's been racing every morning, but it doesn't make sense. I'm not exercising. I'm not stressed." So I asked, "What do you usually drink first thing in the morning?" He laughed and said, "I drink a strawberry-flavored sports drink, the one with electrolytes. Figured it's better than coffee." And right then, I understood. Michael, like so many others, had been misled by a label that looked healthy. But here's the truth. Most energy and sports drinks are loaded with caffeine, refined sugar, and stimulants like taurine or guarana. These ingredients rev up the heart, tighten blood vessels, and spike your blood pressure. Especially dangerous in the morning, when your blood is still thick after a night of rest. You see, a 60-year-old heart isn't as elastic as it was at 30. Your blood vessels aren't as forgiving. And when you hit them with a blast of pressure, even from a cold can, you're handing your cardiovascular system a ticking time bomb. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to protect you from something you can't always see coming. Stroke. Most people think strokes come from genetics or high blood pressure. But no one tells you it can also come from that harmless sports drink, sipped on an empty stomach, with low brain oxygen and thick morning blood. We're not at the age anymore where we can brush off a headache and say, must be from lack of sleep. After 60, every signal is a message. And energy drinks, no matter how youthful they seem, aren't made for a heart that's carried the weight of a lifetime. Do you remember the last time you felt fully awake, without drinking anything? No caffeine, no sugar, just your body naturally waking up, with sunlight on your skin, a glass of warm water, a few slow stretches. That feeling is still there, but it needs you to choose it again. Let me share what I do. Something simple that starts my day. I don't begin with coffee. I don't begin with energy drinks. I start with a glass of warm water, a squeeze of lemon, and a pinch of natural sea salt. Not to wake up, but to help my body remember its natural rhythm. Then I eat a light breakfast. Then I walk. And only if my body truly needs it. I'll have a little weak black tea. Not because I'm strict, but because I've seen too many people get knocked down by the wrong drink at the wrong time. 2. I know you don't want to be dependent. You don't want to take pills every day. You don't want to live in fear of a stroke. Then start tomorrow morning by putting that energy drink down, set it aside, swap it for plain water, and just watch how your body responds over the next 7 days. I promise you, you'll feel a difference. Not faster, but steadier, clearer, lighter. Your body doesn't need more stimulation. It needs you to stop hurting it during its most vulnerable time, the morning. Don't make your heart run a marathon the moment you open your eyes. Start with kindness, and you might be surprised by what you get in return. Now, this might surprise you, but one of the most dangerous habits I see in people over 60 actually starts with a glass of orange juice. You know the kind I'm talking about. Bright, colorful packaging. Big, bold letters. 100% vitamin C. That fresh feeling with every sip, like you're doing something good for your body. But here's something very few people will tell you. Bottled juice isn't fruit. It's liquid sugar, wrapped in a label that's easy to swallow and easy to believe. I remember a woman named Linda. She was 63, a retired teacher. She came to see me because she kept feeling lightheaded in the mornings. Even though she wasn't hungry, her blood pressure was normal, and she ate breakfast regularly. I asked her what she drank first thing every morning. She answered confidently, even proudly, "I don't drink coffee. I don't drink soda, just one glass of pure orange juice every day. It sounded perfect. Until I asked, do you squeeze it yourself? No, she said, but I buy the organic kind. No added sugar. And that right there is the dangerous misunderstanding so many good people like Linda fall into. The truth is this. Even juices labeled 100% juice, organic, no added sugar, can still contain 25 or 30 grams of sugar in a small glass. Why? Because when you strip the fiber out of fruit, you're left with concentrated sugar, and your body absorbs it just like table sugar. Imagine this. You're basically pouring 5 spoonfuls of sugar straight into your bloodstream. Right after waking up, when your blood is still thick, your vessels are still tight, and your brain is crying out for steady flow, not a sugar flood. So what happens next? Your blood pressure spikes. Your vessels constrict. Blood thickens. The risk of clotting goes up. And in some cases, a silent stroke occurs. One with no obvious symptoms. Until it's too late. Now, I'm not telling you this to make you afraid of orange juice. I just want you to look past the label and start listening to how your body reacts. Have you ever felt more tired after drinking juice? Ever noticed your heart flutter a bit? Or a light headache after drinking fruit juice on an empty stomach? That's not normal. That's your body asking for help. And the answer isn't to avoid fruit completely. Not at all. In fact, I encourage you to eat fruit every single day. But eat your fruit. Don't drink it. Let the fiber come along for the ride. That fiber helps slow down absorption, regulate your blood sugar, and protect your heart, blood vessels, and brain. I still remember the look in Linda's eyes when she came back a month later. She had stopped drinking boxed juice in the mornings. Instead, she started her day with a whole orange and a glass of water. She said, I don't feel lightheaded anymore, doctor. And strangely, my mind feels clearer. Sometimes we don't need more vitamins. We just need to let go of a habit we thought was healthy. So if tomorrow morning your hand reaches for that carton of juice, I hope you remember Linda's story and try something new. Eat a whole apple or a few slices of fresh orange. And don't forget, a glass of warm water. No sugar, no marketing. Just what your body's been quietly waiting for. Your body doesn't need a lot. It just needs you to listen before it's too late. Because sometimes a glass of juice can be the beginning or the beginning of the end, depending on how you choose to live. Now I want you to picture this. You're sitting in the living room on a summer afternoon. You open the fridge and reach for a cold can of zero sugar soda. No sugar, no calories, a brand you've trusted for years. You take a sip. It's cool, crisp, and somewhere in your mind, you hear a small voice whisper, this is the right choice. It has no sugar. I know that voice. I've heard it myself. I used to believe that no sugar meant no danger. But then I learned, through science and through my patients, that just because something doesn't contain sugar doesn't mean it's safe. Did you know artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, found in most diet sodas, don't add calories, but they confuse your brain and body in dangerous ways. I once had a patient named Roger. He was 70, a retired aerospace engineer, precise, thoughtful, careful. He came to see me because of morning headaches, midday fatigue, and what he described as a strange heartbeat. When I asked about his diet, he told me, I don't eat sugar, doctor. I only drink sugar-free soda, the kind made for diabetics. I nodded and asked him one simple question. Do you feel hungrier afterward? He paused. Actually, yes. I always crave sweets after, but I fight it. And that's the problem. Artificial sweeteners don't satisfy your hunger. They send false signals to your brain saying, sugar's coming, but there's no real energy behind them. The result? Your body gets confused. Insulin is released. Blood vessels tighten. Heart rhythms become unstable. I once read a study from the American Heart Association that showed, for people over 60 who drink sugar-free soda daily, the risk of stroke is 29% higher, and the risk of memory loss is 31% higher, compared to those who don't drink it at all. You know what worries me most? It's not the numbers. 4. But what concerns me the most isn't just the sugar. It's the false sense of confidence these drinks give you. They make you feel like, I'm making the right choice. while quietly your body is taking the hit. Have you ever felt like that? You drink a can of sugar-free soda, and then afterward you feel a dry mouth, a little brain fog, a racing heart? That strange, restless feeling you can't explain? If so, that's not random. That's your body's biological response to being misled. I'm not here to tell you to never drink soda again. I'm just here to help you understand. What you think is sugar-free can sometimes be worse than real sugar. Because at least with real sugar, your body recognizes it and knows how to respond. But artificial sweeteners, they trigger all the same reactions without giving you any real energy in return. One thing most people overlook is this. Sugar-free soda also dehydrates you. It acts as a mild diuretic. It throws off your electrolyte balance. It thickens your blood. And guess what that leads to? Higher risk of blood clots. And after age 60, that's the last thing you want happening inside your body. I told Roger to stop drinking soda for just 7 days. That's it. Just 7 days. He switched to plain water. Or, when he craved something tangy, sparkling water with a slice of lemon. 1 week later, he came back, smiling. For the first time in 3 years, his blood pressure had stabilized, his head felt clear, and most importantly, he no longer had that random, nervous heartbeat. You see, we don't need artificial fixes. We need real ones. And real solutions don't come from a can. They come from a glass of water, from a slice of lemon, from a few strawberries dropped into a pitcher. Simple, natural, gentle on the heart that's been beating for you for over 60 years. I'm not here to forbid you from drinking anything. I'm just here to remind you, sometimes the most harmful things wear the most harmless disguises. And if you're ready to choose again, start tomorrow morning. No soda, no tricks, just one glass of water and a moment of real awareness. I don't know what you had to drink this morning. Maybe coffee, maybe tea, maybe orange juice, or maybe nothing at all. But if you're 60, 65, 70 like me, I just want you to hear this, slowly and clearly. Not drinking water first thing in the morning is one of the most dangerous habits I see in older adults. Let me paint this picture for you. You wake up after 7-8 hours of sleep. Your body has been resting, but it hasn't had water all night. Your blood is thicker, your vessels are constricted from the drop in body temperature, and your brain is starting to power up. But it's missing the one thing it needs most, hydration. Now imagine, instead of drinking water, you go straight to coffee or straight to breakfast. What happens? You're asking your heart to double its effort, pushing thick blood to the brain when oxygen is already in short supply. And if you already have high blood pressure, or hardened arteries, or elevated cholesterol, that's the moment a silent stroke could begin, without warning. 5. I once had a patient, Mr. Thomas, 72 years old. He was healthy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, ate well, and yet, one morning, he suddenly felt dizzy. His hand went a little numb. His vision blurred for a few moments. He was rushed to the ER. Thankfully, it turned out to be a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, or mini stroke. But it was a clear warning from inside. When I asked him, "What do you usually drink in the morning?" he answered, "I usually eat breakfast first, then have coffee. Water, if I remember." That "if I remember" is where the line is drawn. Because after 60, our bodies stop sending strong thirst signals like they used to. Just because you're not thirsty doesn't mean you don't need water. Water is the fuel of circulation, the lubricant of your vessels, the flow that prevents clotting, stabilizes blood pressure, and keeps your brain alive and alert. Without it, everything gets harder. Your heart has to push thickened blood. Your brain gets less oxygen. Your blood pressure swings, and your risk of silent strokes slowly rises, all because of one forgotten glass of water. I know you're busy. I know you love your coffee or your morning tea. But can you give your heart 30 seconds? Just 30 seconds to pour a glass of room temperature water. No ice, no sugar, nothing fancy. Drink it slowly, sip it, and feel your body switch on the way it was meant to. That's exactly what I told Mr. Thomas. And after just 2 weeks, he came back. His skin looked brighter. He slept better. His blood pressure had evened out. No medications, just one glass of water, at the right moment. Have you ever had mornings where you just felt drained? Not tired from lack of sleep, not hungry, just off? Try this tomorrow. Drink water before you drink anything else. Not because I told you to, but because your body has been waiting for it all night long. You don't need more pills to be healthy. You just need to rebuild your relationship with your body with one kind act each morning. And that first glass of water might be the most honest, good morning you'll ever give to your heart. Now I know. We love our coffee, the smell, the warmth in your hands, that soft buzz from the first sip of the day. I do too. But here's a truth no one talks about. Coffee on an empty stomach is hard on the heart. I had a patient named Paul, 67, recently retired after 40 years as an accountant. He was organized, disciplined, and every morning he'd sit alone on his balcony with a strong cup of black coffee and nothing else until noon. When he came to see me, he said, "Lately, I've been feeling anxious in the mornings. My heart races, even when I'm just sitting still. Sometimes it feels like it's running a marathon." But here's the thing, his blood pressure? Normal. Cholesterol? Fine. Blood sugar? No problem. The one thing that stood out? He skipped breakfast and started each day with nothing but a strong, empty cup of coffee. 6. I want you to imagine this. You wake up. Your body has no fuel yet. Your blood sugar is low, your cells are dehydrated. And instead of gently nourishing yourself to start the day, you pour in a cup of coffee, loaded with caffeine and acid. Here's what happens in the minutes that follow. Cortisol, your stress hormone, spikes. Your heart rate increases. Blood vessels constrict. Your stomach produces acid. And your brain? It gets overstimulated without any real energy to support it. That rush of alertness you feel, it's not energy. It's your body's alarm. Have you ever felt like this? Jittery after drinking coffee, wide awake but unable to focus, heart racing in the morning, followed by a crash by mid-morning? That's not weakness. That's your body trying to protect itself from your habits. After 60, caffeine hits harder. Your liver processes it more slowly. Your heart becomes more sensitive. And your brain needs stability, not spikes. Skipping breakfast and drinking coffee alone is like starting a car with no oil. Keep doing it, and eventually, the engine breaks down. I told Paul something simple. Coffee isn't the enemy, but it should never travel alone. Here's what I asked him to do. Before the coffee, drink a glass of water. Within 15 minutes, eat something small, maybe a few slices of avocado, a banana, or a boiled egg. Then, slowly sip the coffee. 10 days later, he came back. His face looked brighter. He was sleeping better. And most importantly, his heart had stopped racing in the mornings. I know many people say, "I'm not hungry in the morning." I understand. But hunger isn't the point. Your body still needs fuel. For your blood, your brain, and your heart. A small bite, a sip of water. That's not just starting your day. That's a quiet thank you to the heart that's carried you through over 60 years of life. I still drink coffee every morning, but I no longer force my heart to carry it alone. And I hope, starting tomorrow, you'll do the same. Did you know? Most older adults don't come to me because of major illnesses. They come because of things that seem harmless. One of those things? Milk tea, sweet teas, or those bright, colourful juice drinks sold on every street corner. I had a patient. Her name was Grace. She was 65, retired after more than 30 years as a school teacher. A joyful woman, loved exploring new foods, especially Asian milk tea. 3 to 4 times a week, she treated herself to a refreshing tea, sometimes with condensed milk, sometimes with tapioca pearls or jelly. I asked her, "Do you drink any water?" She smiled and said, "Doctor, I drink tea. Tea is water, right?" I took a breath, gentle but firm, and I began to explain, with all the sincerity I had. 7. No, milk tea isn't water, and it's not as refreshing as you think. Most pre-made teas, especially milk teas and fruity bubble teas, contain a massive amount of sugar, 30 to 60 grams per glass. That's 7 to 10 teaspoons of sugar in a single drink. Add to that heavy creamers, artificial flavors, food dyes, and what you're getting is a dangerous mix that thickens your blood, spikes your insulin, and constricts your blood vessels. I want you to picture this. You sip a cold, sweet tea. It feels refreshing, calming. But in the next 30 minutes, here's what's actually happening. Your blood sugar spikes dramatically. Your body scrambles to release insulin. Your blood pressure swings up and down. The vessels in your heart and brain are under pressure. And if you already have even mild heart disease or prediabetes, this is a silent blow your body takes without you feeling it. Until later. I asked Grace a simple question. When you drink milk tea in the morning, do your hands ever feel shaky? Or do you get dizzy? She nodded. Yes, I thought it was just the weather. No, Grace, it wasn't the weather. That was a real biological reaction. Your body overwhelmed by sugar it wasn't ready to handle. I'm not telling you never to drink tea again. I just want you to understand, tea isn't always healthy. Not if you don't control what you put in the cup. After 2 weeks of swapping milk tea for herbal tea, no sugar or warm water with fresh ginger, Grace called me, and she said something I'll never forget. Doctor, I thought I was tired because of age, but really, I was just tiring out my heart. If you're still here with me, I believe you've felt this too. That fatigue after what seemed like a relaxing morning. The racing heartbeat after an iced sweet tea. That strange restlessness or sleepless night with no clear reason. You're not aging because of time. You're aging because of habits that no longer suit the stage of life you're in. I'm not asking you to stop enjoying life. I'm asking you to be more aware as you enjoy it. A beautiful drink isn't always a healthy one, but the right drink might just save an artery. So tomorrow morning, try this. Swap that milk tea for a warm cup of ginger tea. Instead of sugar, try real honey. And instead of tapioca pearls, let clarity be the only thing that fills your cup. I know. Life has a lot going on. Family, kids, money, health. And mornings come fast. You just want to keep it simple. A quick coffee, skipping breakfast, a drink grabbed on the go. Seems harmless. I'm tea, right? No, not anymore. Not after 60. Your body isn't what it was at 30 or 40. Your heart doesn't stay calm when you drink coffee on an empty stomach. Your brain isn't as flexible under sudden sugar spikes from bottled juice. And your blood vessels, more fragile than ever, are just one mistake away from a moment that changes everything. I'm not saying all this to scare you. I'm saying it because I believe you deserve a different kind of morning. A morning that starts with clarity, not caffeine. With pure water, not sugar. With kind choices for your body. Not automatic habits you no longer question. Have you ever thought about this? What if just one small change each morning could lower your risk of stroke by 30–40%, help you sleep better, and make you feel like you've come alive again? Would you be willing to try? Just one glass of water, a piece of fruit, a cup of herbal tea instead of milk tea. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm simply asking you to begin. One step, one habit, one sip, one small decision at a time. Because after 60, we no longer have time to ignore our bodies. You are not weaker because you've aged. You're just tired. Because you haven't been taking care of yourself the way you used to. But you can change that, starting tomorrow morning. Here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow morning, the moment you wake up, sit up slowly. Drink a glass of water. Not cold, not sweet, just plain water. If you can, eat something small. A banana, half an avocado, or a few almonds. Then, and only then, if you want it, have your coffee. But don't drink it on an empty stomach. Look in the mirror and say this. Today, I choose to be kind to myself. And if what I've shared today resonated with you, leave a comment below this video. I'm starting tomorrow morning. I'll read every single message. And if you need advice, I'll respond. Also, I'm releasing a free, simple, and practical morning guide for adults over 60. You can leave your email or download it directly in the description below. You can't change the past, but you can rewrite what comes next, starting with your first sip of water every morning. If this video helped you see your path more clearly, hit like, share it with someone you care about, especially someone on a healing journey. And don't forget to subscribe to Seniors and Stories, where I share simple, powerful truths to help older adults live with more health, strength, and purpose. I'll see you again on a brighter, gentler morning with more health, more peace, and a renewed sense of life.